All right, welcome everybody. This is going to be the recap for the week ending on February 26, 2021 for the chat room. So we're going to be going through the stats first, and then we'll talk about the topic this week is the power of the crystal ball in all time frames. So we'll be getting into that in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at our weekly stats. Weekly stats, once again, where's our leader? US yen, as we would expect, right? So we're looking at the morning winds of 74%. Night, not so good, 67%. But overall, US yen continues to be the leader. Then the Aussie US, which I've been talking about for some time. Those are my two favorite. And then, of course, we get into the euro and we get into the pound. What's interesting is what's kind of going in on the pound at night with a 91% win ratio on the pound. Not sure what that's all about in the evenings, but not so sure that's going to hold up. So once again, I will continue to focus as I move into next week, also on the US yen and on the Aussie. And if I see some strong setups in the euro, I'll take those as well. But this is, once again, this is only for core setups. When it comes to crystal ball, everything's open and available to me. I can trade anything with crystal ball. Okay. First trade of the day. This is the weakest I've ever seen it, 60%. Not really sure what's going on. Well, I take that back. I do know what's going on. There were several when I had two happening at the same time. Like I would have a yen and then maybe I'd have an Aussie setting up at the same time for the first trade of the day. And I just happened to pick the loser. Okay. Where the other one won. And that happened twice this week. But it is what it is. Okay. I cannot tell whether the Aussie's going to be the winner and the yen's going to be the loser. All I know is they both happen at the same time. Then I have to make that choice. Typically, my choice is going to be whichever one is short. And if it's not shorts, what pair is it coming? If it comes in the yen over the Aussie, I always like the yen because that tends to be the strongest. I'm going to go with the yen first. But like I said, sometimes I pick the wrong one out of the two, or I have others will come in and pick the right one, and they may have an 80% win rate or 100% win rate on that first trade of the day. And once again, when I'm talking about first trade of the day, this is not a strategy, okay? Do not think that you're going to just trade one trade a day, all right, and be able to make money. Maybe you can, but I don't think anybody's disciplined enough, number one. And number two, why wait a whole day? If you have a loser, why wait a whole day? Okay, we have so many opportunities to turn that into a green day. Okay, and that's why we trade short term, because we have, literally at least 100 opportunities, if not more, to turn our day green. Yeah, if it does start off red, okay, or it starts off green, we hit our objective early and we get out. All right, so why make one trade a day? But some people want to trade that way, and that's fine. If that's the way they want to do it, then you're going to have super discipline. But I don't know of anybody that can just make one trade a day. It's very, very difficult unless you're setting up to where you can't trade during the day, can't trade in the evening. Maybe your time is you only have available to put on maybe one trade a day. We'll talk about that in a minute. You can do that with the dailies. And that gets more on the CB patterns. All right. So, nonetheless, overall, not too bad for the week. I'm expecting next week to pick up. It's like one of the things that you're going to notice when you're trading. You always have those really strong days where you're just killing it, and then the next day is not so good. It's kind of the same thing on a weekly basis. When my stats are on the lower side, instead of being in the 70-80%, then that following week tends to be really good. So I am expecting a really good week coming up here for these 5-minute binaries. And these are naked stats also. Once again, this does not mean that we've taken 16 different trades, 14 different trades. What this means is this is if you close your eyes and you just went with the particular setup to buy or sell, that is the result. Okay, there are other things that we use to filter out a lot of these trades for stronger setups. Okay, so this is strictly what I call naked stats. And the idea is, the reason I'm showing this is because even if you've never traded in your life, I'm going to put some odds in your favor that you're going to have a winning trade instead of a losing trade. Okay, that's the idea. And then as you become a better trader, then we work on not only increasing that, but working on getting better premium. All right. So that being said, let's take a look at my CB trades for the week. Pretty much kind of what I've been hitting, around 4,000 or 5,000 for the week. My weakest day was Wednesday. That was a day when I actually gave up quite a bit. I think I was up 600-700 for the day, and I ended up trading later in the afternoon, and I wasn't completely focused. I was trading more as a hobbyist where I was in and out. I do not recommend that, okay? And so this is something that not only is a lesson to myself again, but a lesson to you. If you're going to be trading short term, trading off of 1 minute or 5 minute charts, you've got to be willing to sit down for a good couple of hours and be focused. No distractions, no answering emails in between trades, because it's going to throw you off. You're going to miss some good trades. You're going to end up you're going to miss good trades. You end up taking the bad trades, and that's kind of typically what happens. So you got to be 100% focused. You have to stay in sync with the market, and the sequence of trades is real important. Okay, so when we're trading, we want to know that we don't want to make a trade and then skip a trade, then make a trade. If we have a trade that sets up, then we take it, and then we have another strong trade that sets up, we want to take it again. We want to follow the sequence. It's important. We don't want to be going in there and picking and choosing, because that's what is going to throw off your stats. All right. This is based on sequence. You have to follow the sequence. So that's really, really important. Okay. So let's talk about the crystal ball. Now, one of the things about the crystal ball is, let me tell you that until you can master core, all right, this is the core package. Until you master core, you cannot, okay, and you will not be allowed to upgrade to the CB package. So don't ask me if you can just buy the CB package. It's not available anymore. I want to see you master core. If you can't master core, you can't trade CB, okay? You got to learn how to drive that Cadillac before we throw you into the Ferrari, all right? But you can do very well with core. You don't have to go to CB. Core will hold up on its own. You can do very well with core. And but for those that really want to do it more full time, that want to do this as a living, then this is where CB comes in. You have to show me that you can master core before I even allow you to come into CB. So you have to be invited into CB. It's not something I just provide to everybody anymore. All right. So most of my trades now are CB. I will trade these CB patterns off of 1 and 5 minutes, but I can also trade them off of dailies, 20 minutes, and that is the power of CB. Okay. And we're going to show you that in just a minute. But let's go back and say, what is CB, or what is core? Okay. What we're dealing with here is we're dealing with what I found back in the 80s. Okay. Back in the 80s. I've been trading since the 80s. Man, it goes back a long way. Nearly 40 years, if not over 40 years. And what I found is that, indicators are not going to work. Anything that needs to be optimized, right? Anything that has a number that can be changed, like, a 21-day moving average, or a 20-day, or a 19, or stochastics, or a Bollinger Band, folks, those are going to hold up. Okay. Also, things that are a little bit more subjective, head and shoulders, trend lines, those kind of patterns. I'm not talking about those kind of patterns. Candlestick patterns, dojis and engulfing patterns and all that stuff. These are not candlestick patterns. These are my own unique proprietary, what I call behavioral patterns. And I've called them behavioral patterns since the 80s. And the reason I call them behavioral patterns is because what they're doing is they are exposing the behavior of what traders are going to do under certain situations, right? Under certain trading conditions. And that is so important. And if you don't believe that human behavior can't be predicted, let's go back to an analogy I've used many times, and that is a scenario of a burning building. We can predict that if a building's on fire, at least 80, 90, if not more than that, of the people are going to get and move out of the building, right? We can predict that. So I can predict that there's going to be more people going out than more people going in. But does that mean it's 100%? No, because you're still going to have your firefighters. You're still going to have those that want to come in, go in and do whatever, get whatever they want to get. So you've got that 5-10%, whatever leeway there. Nothing's 100%. But I certainly have the odds in my favor that I can predict that more people are coming out than people are going in. It's called a behavioral pattern. And behaviors can be predicted under all kinds of conditions. And that's what I have found. And nobody has talked about it. It's not in a book. It's not on the internet, folks. This is unique. This is my proprietary patterns. And I'm very protective of them. So don't even get in the CB unless you show me you've mastered core. All right. Got to master core. We'll talk about behavioral patterns in the core. Well, then we're going to get into some really good stuff when we start getting into CB, because now we're talking about not only trading in the money, but we're talking about trading out of the money. CB gives me indication of the size of the move. So if I see something coming up, it's going to be a big move, I'm going to go deep out of the money. If it's going to be a small move, I'm going to do an in the money. All right. So crystal ball gives us a lot of information, but also the crystal ball is the patterns in there are so strong that they all work extremely well on even the daily charts. Okay. And so let's take a look at that, because I opened up the dailies again. Last year I was using patterns based on core. On the dailies we switched. We went to the patterns. My strongest patterns using CB, applying them to the daily charts. And I think you're going to find these numbers pretty impressive, considering the fact that, first of all, I'm not a big, what I call long-term trader. For me, long-term is holding on to anything more than 5 minutes. Okay, that's long-term. All right, because the idea is that the longer you hold something, you're increasing the probability there could be some sort of news or unpredictable event that can come out that can affect the direction of that particular trade, right? So the longer you're in a trade, the higher the probability is something could come out and affect the direction of the trade that you're in. But what's impressive to me is that even with that being the case, applying them to the daily charts has been quite impressive. And so let's talk about that, and let's take a look at a chart here. All right, so here we are. This is a picture of the crude. This is going to be daily. It's going to be daily crude. All right. And these are the trades, okay, that I had since January. And you can see the majority of them, well, actually all of them except one lost. Now, some of these, if you look at this, and basically the way this works is that when I send out a trade, all these trades had been sent out in advance, okay? They're sent out the night before. You put your trade on, right? You put your trade on like on Sunday night, it expires on Monday. Put your trade on Monday night, it expires on Tuesday. That's the way it works. And what I do is I provide you with the opening indicative, and whether it's going to be it's going to go above or below that indicative. So that being the case, is you have your choice. You can do slightly out of the money. You can do deeper out of the money if you think it's going to be a bigger move. You can do an at the money, or you can do an in the money. And what I did is I just looked at the closest strike. So if it was closer to be, if the out of the money was closer than in the money, I did the out of the money. If the at or in the money, or if in the money or at the money were closer, that's what I did. All right. So I did not always do in the monies. I did not always do out of the monies. Once again, that's the subjective part. You can take whatever you want. More conservative approach is to do always out of the money. But at the same time, if you can do an in the money, if you can do an at the money or an out of the money and get better premium, that I like that a little bit better than just being more conservative and doing in the monies only. All right, because with these dailies, you can really get some really sweet premium, particularly with the CB setups. It's the same thing with whether you're trading 1 minute or 5 minutes, 20 minutes or dailies. It's the same kind of thing. All right. So that being the case, you can look at this and you can see in some cases where, like, where was it? There was one here. I believe it was, I believe it was right there, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the premium was pretty much at the money. All right. And I picked up some really nice profit on that one. Even though you look at that spike and say it was a big day, it doesn't matter when you come to the binaries, right? All that matters is did it close above or below the opening indicative. Closes above it, you capture all that premium. All right. So you don't have to have like a huge move, right, to make a lot of money. If you can get, if you're buying something for $40, $50, and I do have examples of that. I was buying in the 40s. So you're risking $40, $45 to make 60 or $55. I'd say that's pretty good risk to reward. And you'll be surprised how often that happens with these dailies when you're trading CB. So anyway, that's an example of CB. But let's take a look at the hard numbers, because I have 14 different pairs, or different binaries, I should say, that we're tracking here with these CB setups. And so let's look at the numbers, because every single one of these have been posted to subscribers. Once again, everybody's getting these daily setups. So whether you come in as a trial member, or you come in as or if you buy the package, you buy the core package, or if you come in as a CB. Now, of course, once you go to CB, then you know exactly how to produce these yourself. So these patterns are revealed to the CB trader. So you don't have to wait on me to tell you whether it's a buy or sell. On the crude oil, you're going to know that because you're going to understand the patterns, right? So let's jump over here and let's take a look at some hard numbers here. All right, so here we are. We're trading a total of 14 different binaries, which are listed here, going back to the first of this year. Identify the pattern. Once again, the CB traders understand what HF means. There's an HF, HF2, HF3, all dailies, all put on to expire the following day at 3 p.m. Whether it's a buy or sell, open indicative, the premium I got based on the strike. Remember, this is going to be different for everybody, right? I may take an in the money, you may take an out of the money, you may take an at the money, all different premium. That is going to be subjective to you, right? So that's up to you which strike you pick, all right? For me, I always went with the closest strike. And a lot of times it was slightly out of the money, and I got some really nice premium, all right? That being said, this is a gross profit. Obviously, after commissions, a gross loss. Coming down here to the 25th, which was Thursday, which was the last setup. This is what these are the results for all of them. All right, 900, 975, and a win rate of 77%. But let me show you what's even more important. Okay, this is not as important as, okay, if the pattern is good, any pattern is good, it should work across the board, right? So if you have a behavioral pattern in crude oil, I would expect to see the same kind of behavioral pattern be just as effective whether I was trading the Aussie US or I'm trading the US 500. And that is exactly what we saw here. So let's take a look at that, because this is very important. A lot of people don't think about that. All they look at is the bottom number. And the question is, how well did it do across the board? And so let's expand this a little bit. Hold on one sec. Okay, so here we are. All right. 14 different binaries for trading, right? We have our Forex, we have our crude, we have our gold, we have our silver, we have our US 500, okay? In 3 months, only one out of these 14 pairs was red, and that's the pound yen, all right? But pound yen had only 3 trades, so that's really not enough, okay, to say that it won't go green, and I think it will go green, all right? But the most important thing is it's green across the board, okay? And that's what we would expect for a good pattern, right? That's what we're looking for. And the question is, well, were all the patterns profitable or just some of the patterns profitable? Okay, and so here we are. You have the HF, the HF2, and the HF3. All were profitable. All right. These are very impressive numbers. Trust me, I've been doing this for a long, long time. All right. I've looked at a lot of track records. I've looked at a lot of results, and I've never seen anything hold up better than behavioral patterns. And CB is definitely going to be one of those that are just always going to have some impressive results, right? So I wanted to show that on the dailies, but more importantly is if you want to get these setups and you're not ready to invest in one of the packages yet, then as a trial member, I will send you these setups every evening so you have them in advance. What you're going to get is you're going to get, I'm going to tell you what pair it is. You're going to know the pair. You're going to know, well, you're not going to understand the pattern. I'm going to identify the pattern. You're going to obviously know the daily. It's always going to be a daily, following day that it expires, whether it's a buy or sell, and the opening indicative. Okay, so if the open indicative is 38.22, and let's say you are a seller and you have a 38.25 and or a 38.21, you can take the 25 or 21 depending on the premium, right? If you have really good premium on the 21 or the 20 and it's very, very good premium, then sell the 21 or the 20, right? If you have decent premium and you have a 25, then you sell a 25. That's up to you, right? Building in more cushion never helps. And that's just, that's what I wanted to talk about. On this crude oil buy, all right, it settled very close to the strike that I took. Okay, had I traded in the money, I traded out of the money. Had I traded an in the money on this buy, it would have won. It actually would have been a buyer. I would have won. So had you been buying it below the open indicative, you would have made money. I actually went out of the money and went higher than the open indicative, and I ended up taking a loss. So that was what I was thinking of earlier on this crude. I wanted to point that out because, once again, that's where it shows where, just because you may see a win or loss doesn't mean you as an individual are going to maybe make money or lose money. It depends on what premium you take, right? Or, what strike you take. So that's the most important thing. So once again, that's kind of where we're at. If you want to get these setups, kind of follow them yourself, you can do that. We'll set you up once you become either you purchase the package or you go ahead and you try the trial membership. So that's going to be it. What I'm expecting this coming week is I'm expecting, as you can see from the stats, that I'm expecting to see a really strong week coming up. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this coming week. Once again, we start every Sunday night. We are here from Sunday through Friday trading. We trade a lot. The chat room's open a lot of hours every day in the morning and in the evening. But if you are a trader and you like trading, don't pass up Sunday nights. Okay, whether you're trading with me or you're not trading with me, Sunday nights can be an awesome, awesome night. One of my favorite nights of the week, besides Thursdays, is going to be Sundays. All right, so a little tip for you guys out there that are trading in binaries: watch Sunday nights. All right, so that's going to be it. We'll wrap it up. We'll be back next week with the next weekly update. Next Friday. Yeah, I'm thinking if there was a holiday, there's no holidays coming up. So, so we should have a full week coming up. And if you have any questions, just go to my website, binaryprostrategies.com. Shoot me an email. I'll be glad to answer those questions. As always, with all my videos, if you give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. Let me know that you like what you're seeing. And do subscribe so I can keep you updated on any new videos that I'm sending out. Some go out to everybody. Some only go out to people that have signed up. So make sure you sign up. And besides that, everybody have a great trading week, and we will see you next week. Take care.